Welcome to the Sirens of the Mother podcast, a place where we wax lyrical about all things mother, from the divine to the downright dirty. And it's my pleasure to have you here as we cut through the noise and distortions of our current narratives. Welcome, dear souls, to another episode of Sirens for the Mother. I am your host, Coco Oya Sienna Ray. And as you can probably hear, my voice is a bit croaky because I have not stopped crying all day. Today has been absolutely momentous and amazing and just shattered me open at a whole new level of heart expansion. The love that I'm receiving for the book already has blown me away. It's been a true initiation, birthing this as a creation. The level of expansion I have had to envelop and embody and embrace in order to put this out into the world and begin to ignite my inner masculine in a way that I have never before, to provide the structure to hold my feminine flow and the incoming love. It's been a momentous journey. As I said, it's just been incredible when I tune into who I am now and who I was when I started writing that book. Because when I started writing that book, I had no idea it was going to be a book. It was just outpourings and ramblings from my mind into my journal, trying to heal the mother wound, my sense of inadequacy, to really understand my journey. I've been told many times I needed to write and write my book, or just write in my journal, and I put it off for so long, but in the end, it almost destroyed me not speaking my truth. And so as I began to write, and I mean write after my near-death experience, I just wrote and wrote and wrote. I don't even know what I was writing sometimes, but I knew whatever this stream of consciousness that was coming through me, it had to be put on paper. And sometimes we don't follow those little nudges. But let me tell you, that little nudge turned into prods from her, from mother. Get up, write, do the book. There were many days I couldn't sleep because words would be whirling around in my head, words I would push away. But I began to realize that the more I wrote, the more I began to feel better, the more my pain and trauma had voice, and the more I was beginning to make sense of not just my own story, but the story of women that have suffered trauma, the story of so many collective patterns that have caused the masculine to be harmful, not just towards themselves, but towards women, towards life, towards the planet, towards Earth. And I began to see patterns of why women kept themselves small, lost, disconnected from their medicine, how they perpetuated patterns of feeling powerless, feeling like second-class citizens, and the fear that was passed down and etched in their bones that carried this story that woman had no real place on the planet. And so each time I wrote, I would move through a myriad of little mini death and rebirths as I aim to write my own individual understanding of these patterns. And as I witness the collective story being channeled to me by Mother. And you know what? All since that time, it's kind of hard to believe that I've got here, that I have grown into the version of myself that I was shown, that I have begun to stretch beyond my baseline, which, if in all honesty, was at almost zero for a very long time. I started below zero, and it's taken me a long time to get to ground zero. Ground zero, that place where I am able to hold both my sorrows and my siren voice. A place where I can hold my trauma and my triumphs in one cohesive sound. Where I can see the vulnerability and the feeling of not being enough, along with the sensation of being the most magnificent creature that walked the fucking earth. That's right. I am loving up on myself today, and I am feeling the full force of my creative nature because I did a thing. I listened to those seemingly insignificant nudges of write this, say this, do this, go here, speak to that person, don't speak to that person, ignore that person, walk away from that person, invite that person in, show your vulnerability to that person, show your strength to that person, show your fierceness to him, to her, to them. That voice that would natter me till I got up and wrote. That voice of Mother, that clarion call that is resounding out to all of us and those that are choosing to listen and tune in, attune to her vibration, are birthing something so extraordinary and magnificent that it is rewriting the very fabric of our existence. And I cannot even begin to tell you what it feels like to know that my sound, my unique sound, my voice, my vessel, my vulnerability, my vastness is going out into the world as a clarion call, as a tuning fork for those that are ready to feel Mother inside of them as her, as she is you. This book that I've written, well, let me reframe that. This book that rewrote me, because let me tell you, there were times I did not want to write in that book as that book and feel every single word that was being put on paper and having to relive the trauma and the pain and having to feel everything that I thought I had buried away, to feel the deepest pain, the loss of my own mother, right at a time when I had just begun to know her again as a woman an individual woman, not as my mother, but as a woman that I could lend my compassionate heart to and see her just for her, as her, even though she could not mother me in the way that I needed to. She couldn't even mother herself. To look at her and know that the life that she had created was the life that she had created, and it had absolutely fuck all to do with me. She was an individual soul, and whatever she needed to learn, that was her business. I could choose to love her as she was and let go of the desperate little girl inside of me that needed her to mother me all the way up until I was 43. That little girl, so desperate to know love, to feel love, to want love. I desired love on a capacity I can't even explain, to the point where I let it destroy me, to a point where I let it eat away at me, to a whole level of where I thought I was unlovable. Can you imagine that? I sit here today and think, oh my God, how was that even a thing? That's where I took myself into the depths of despair so that I didn't want to be here. And I lay in bed night after night, curating my own death. How would I do it? When would I do it? Who would I tell? Who wouldn't I tell? Would I tell? Would I just go? How would I do it? Anything to switch off the noise. On that day when I just decided I could not hold on anymore, I could not hold on. I was hanging on by my fingernails. I don't even know what I was gripping onto, why I was holding on to the past, to the pain, to the trauma, to the sense of worthiness. I can't even tell you why I wanted that identity when it had nothing to do with me, when I thought it was the only version of me. And I could not hold it any longer. And I remember laying down and saying, this is it, God. I am out of here. I am gone. This is bloody useless. I don't know who I am, where I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm going, why I'm hurting, who's my friend, who's my foe, who's my family, who is fucking God. I don't know. I am done with you. My words to God were, you told me this was going to be a Garden of Eden. I came here to be a lover for life. And all I've met is pain and sorrow and grief and darkness and heaviness and abuse and numbness and fear and shame and guilt. And it's not just me. Everybody feels that. Everybody feels that. Everybody's feeling that. And you told me I would feel love. You told me that my sensitivity was a gift and it would be the greatest gift to humanity. And I got here and I had to shut myself down because the noise of humanity was so discordant, so out of place. I think for the first few years of my life on this planet, all I wanted to do was go home. And so when that pain got unbearable, to a point I could no longer tolerate it, hold it, understand it, didn't want to know it, I decided to die. But you know what? Mother knows best. She had other plans. And the way she synchronized my rescue is movie worthy. As I sit here and ponder, was my life supposed to go that way? I don't know. But all I know is for a long time, most of my life, I had suicidal ideation, the sense of just not wanting to be here, not knowing how to fit in or belong. And maybe everything is just a big divine design. And I was meant to experience everything that I did. Because laying there and feeling my soul leaving my body drip, drip, dripping down, and just feeling the stillness that came over me as it like just wafted out of my body like this. I'm going to say fart in the wind because that's what it felt like. Like it was just this wisp of like cloudy energy that just moved out of my body and I was still. And then it was like I was falling back into nothingness. And I had no fear and no doubt. I was just ready to go. And then and then I couldn't fall back anymore. And then before I realized I was being held by her in her arms like a baby. And she told me the most wonderful things, which I'll share over time as we get deeper into the podcasts over the coming weeks. I feel ready to share now the beauty that she told me is possible when we remember who we are, when we, particularly as women, stand in right order. We are initiators, we are creators, we are the vessels that bring through souls. We are the ones that are to initiate this homecoming. In order to do that, we need to get in our bodies, ignite our wombs, and use the power of our pussies to bring through the most radiant, glorious bliss through our bodies out into the world so that we can turn this ship around. Because if you haven't noticed, Mother's voice, Mother's sound is getting louder for those that can hear because we've reached the end point and it's now time for the tide to come in. And as it comes in and it moves through you, you become formed anew into your becoming. The time for striving, the time for pushing, the time for trying to work it out by your mind is over. Your body is the thing that will bring you home. Digging for Mother's bones is, for me, I would call it an introductory into me, the medicine of Mother, and how to mother yourselves. It is time to stop outsourcing your creative, radiant power to outside sources like they hold the key to what's inside you. You hold the key to what's inside you. And as we begin to switch tracks, and I am so blessed right now to have the women in my life that know who they are and are creating their bodies of work and they're putting their sound out into the world. What if the bodies of work isn't an outside thing? What if it's an embodied thing that lives through you? But as you have the opportunity to dive into the pages when they come out, and right now you can get a taste of it on the Womancraft website. And I didn't know if I could do this podcast or how it would come out because just before I was coming on to record, I received the most beautiful email, and oh my God, it dropped me to my knees. I've never cried so hard because somebody read the sample on the website and said they were only halfway through it and it touched them so deeply because it was like I was sitting in their front room talking to them and giving words, sounds, emotions to the things they have not been able to feel for so long because of their own trauma and abuse. And you've got no idea what that means to me right now. To know that my life journey is going to help so many people and that I alchemized that shit and turned it into gold so that we could usher in the golden era on the golden threads of Mother. And so it's my wish that you get a full range of what it is to be Mother, what it is we are birthing as the Mother world, and what it is to begin to do the gnarly, gritty work of clearing your legacy and ancestral line, and in particular, the Mother line. And as much as I wrote this book for women, because I am a woman, it's all I know, I write from my true lived perspective. This is for everyone who wants to discover the feminine essence in their life, in themselves, in the people around them. I talk of the masculine and the connection between masculine and feminine and why it's just time to stop blaming each other. It's over, man. It's over. We need to just grow up and realize that we've all been hurt and it's time for a new narrative and it's time for us to embrace one another and it's time for us to see that what we have created has served us up to this point. But now, both individually and collectively, we are moving through the biggest life, death, and rebirth. And we are remembering who we are when we step into our full embodied being and how to bring order out of this chaos that we've created, how to bring masculine and feminine into unity within and without, how to really embrace the pain of our path that we inherited that no longer needs to run through our bodies because what is supposed to run through our bodies? Bliss, ecstatic bliss. We are joyful beings at the core of who we are. We are loving beings at the core of who we are. And this is why we're returning. This is the remembrance. This is the love of the mother. And ironically, I wrote so much that she's already nudging me to write the second book called Mother Love, a deeper exploration into what love really is, how we abandoned it, and how we can cohesively bring it back on the planet. And so for now, my offering of digging for mother's bones will have some of you rattled to the bone in remembrance, for sure. And will give you a flavour and a taste of what's to come. And will ignite you into whatever is the next step. For some, that will be nothing. For some, that will be a full charge. It doesn't really matter. We're not here to compare anymore. We are here to embody our unique individual imprint, our clarion call, our siren song, our soul song, the unique blueprint that you came in with. It's time to remember it now. It's etched in your body, in your bones. And ultimately, the mother wound has been one of the deepest wounds, which is why we haven't been able to do it. But the balm and the love of the mother is here in full force, and it moves through me, and it moves through others, and it moves through as a tidal wave, washing everything clean. And yes, when these sounds go out of my mouth, you will feel the vibration and the ferocity of that tone underneath that bass tone, rubbing up against the things that you may not want to feel or witness or have or hold in your body. But this is the beginning of learning to be embodied and be with it and hold it and treasure it because it is you. Your body did that. Your body held that for you until you were ready and ripe enough to let it go and transform it into something so beautiful and nourishing for your soul that you won't know what's hit you on the other side. Trust me. Oh my God, if I'd have known that this is a feeling that I was pushing away, this delight, this joy that's running through my body right now, when I hear how my words have impacted somebody that I don't even know. Oh my God, the whole journey was worth it for those words because I know what it was like to have no one tell me what the fuck was going on, how to move through it, what it was about. And so this is the beginning. This is the beginning of something that I don't even know what it is, but I'm just following the breadcrumbs. And I am listening to Mother that I am a guide at this time, and I am a mystic, and I am a siren for her. I am a messenger. And I don't even know what the full scope of those things mean. And I don't need to, because I implicitly trust her and have faith that wherever she's directing me, I will follow. That's the following that I want, not some social media thing. That's the wave that I want to bring through that following, that I go first and see people come along if they want to be embraced by the mother within themselves and in the collective and in the cosmos. If they want to remember what it's like to truly be loved by life. And so I'm going to leave it there and come back over the next few days on Instagram to do some live readings. I thought I would do one tonight, but my voice needs to rest. So I hope you'll join me, and I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I can feel behind me now this force of a movement that's being created for the mother. And I can't wait to see what unfolds from this point on. So much love to you, and I'll see you in a fortnight on this podcast. Me and you intimately rifting. And in between that, there will be another guest podcast. This one's with Sarah Poet. Oh my gosh. And I discovered the other day that she chose Poet for her second name because it's who she is. The wisdom that she brings through. Oh my God. It's so poetic. Her sacred remembrance is her work, her podcast, and exactly what it says on the tin. She brings through a clarion call that actually brought me into alignment. And I can't wait for you to hear the conversation we had and receive the medicine you need from it, the insights and the energy and essence to begin to fuel your own desires, the ones that come from your soul. For me, desires come from a deep place within, from your original blueprint. They're not what we've been told they are. They're not these frivolous things. And so with that, my loves, I bid you farewell and come find me on Instagram over this next week. I'm going to be doing some readings and answering questions that people may have and just going with the flow. All right. Much love. Speak soon. Thank you for joining me on Sirens of the Mother, podcast where you wax lyrical about all things mother, from the divine to the downright dirty.